Let's get back to Canada here, because I'm always curious, KJ, when you're in the bubble, when you're here in Canada and you're following this team, you just form your own opinions. They're larger than life, but you never quite know how the outside world is talking about them. They go out and have a brilliant showing against Belgium, to the point where even Kevin De Bruyne was like, why am I getting man of the match? I did not have a good game. Almost every man on that team saying that they were lucky to come away with that win. That's besides the point. But what was everyone else saying? What was international media saying after watching that little teeny tiny Maple Leaf take to the pitch and do what they did?
Well, I was reminded briefly by someone that Spain won 7-0 last night because no one was talking about it. Talk about Canada. The international media talk about Canada everywhere. The great thing about this World Cup is that it's a close community. We travel a lot. We see the same people. We go to 2 games a day. It's genuinely remarkable. It's a blessing that we get to do that. And, you form a lot of relationships over these years. I've got BBC journalists coming up to me, people across the world, Polish TV, Italians, tell me about Canada. Wow, how well did they play? That was amazing. They were great last night. Very unlucky. So Canada were the talk of the media here. They definitely laid a statement. And as I wrote today for my diary, I think that in many ways is more important than what the result would be. I know the result is based on outcomes and, defining what happens to them in this World Cup. But we're getting new fans all the time. Thousands of new fans watched that game yesterday, and they're talking about it in Canada. I'm hearing from so many people that it's been a massive talk in Canada because of the way they played. And this is the thing about this team. They're authentic. They're genuinely good people on and off the pitch. And they never, ever come away from doing something else. They don't. They're always themselves. They're themselves. It doesn't matter what they are, where they're playing, whether they're on a park, whether they're playing with the kids, or whether they're playing in the World Cup. They're authentic to themselves. And that's why people gravitate to them. Now people around the world are finding out what we've known for some time, that they're a fun team to watch and get behind.
And can I say that I am so happy that when asked about it again today, John Herdman did not say, I'm sorry, which is so typical of Canadian. No, he's not sorry. So this is what he actually said right after the game, right? He was asked, what did you say in that huddle? Well, this is what he said. I just told them they belong here and we're going to go and F Croatia. It's as simple as it gets. That's our next mission. He was asked if he regretted that. And he's just like, listen, you asked me what I said. And that's in the heat of the moment. And that's what it takes to get guys going. That's how you motivate your team. I love the fact that he didn't apologize. Ollie, where are you with that quote?
Well, I think the fact that he didn't apologize made it very clear that it wasn't an accident, right? Like, I think there's some people saying this is something that just slips out maybe in the heat of the moment. I don't think that's John Herdman. And I think if it had done, then he probably would have apologized for it today. But he said himself, maybe they're not the most respectful thing to say about Croatia. And then I was kind of waiting and expecting for the apology to follow. And it just didn't, right? Like he didn't really back down from that comment. So I think that this is something we've seen from Canada before in qualifying. You think back to the mysterious drone that flew over Honduras' training session. You think back to some of the difficulties that teams had, securing training facilities in Canada and things like that. They've made it quite clear that they're not really afraid anymore of annoying opponents, potentially firing them up, giving them bulletin board material, as some people might say it. It's more about, I think, their own mentality. So whether or not they'll be, this is something that will come back to haunt them or they'll regret will obviously be defined by what happens against Croatia. But I don't think that this is anything new from John Herdman or this Canadian team in the way they conduct themselves.
Yeah, see, I don't know, because Jordan, I feel like I asked you this, like if as a player, are you paying attention? This was during the Canadian Premier League playoffs. So you're hearing this guy say this, you're hearing somebody say that, does it really affect you? And you're like, we're going out and doing our thing anyways. Now, I'm not saying some guys aren't affected. All you have to do is watch the Michael Jordan documentary. He would make up things that people said about him just to get him going. And it's not that, we're sitting there trying to be disrespectful to anybody, but I guess more than anything is I just love the gumption. And I love it, whether it comes from Canada or just comes from another nation, because oftentimes in sports, we get so worried about saying the wrong thing because maybe it'll come back to bite you, that I love when somebody really just puts their sword in the ground, to use the symbol that John Herdman likes here. We're just putting it in the ground. If it works for us, great. If it doesn't, I guess I'll eat my words, but I can't say I didn't try, right? I don't know. Where are you on that?
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Andy. I think he's restored belief in a program that in my existence hasn't really been there. And the biggest stage everyone talking about today it's Canada and their performance. Now, we have to really talk about and pay respects to what this does, because this was never a tournament for me watching where I said Canada needs to go and win the whole World Cup or get out of the group. This is a tournament to make a statement and say, we can play, we're united, we know what we're doing. Hockey is something we're good at, but we also play soccer. Like, going to Europe, I can even talk about my own personal story for a second, is you go and you say, yeah, I play football in Canada. And people like kind of smirk and chuckle. Like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, like this is what it was. You say, thankfully, I was in a country where I played my career at Denmark, where Atiba Hutchinson was a king for 4 years. So I always had him to look at and be like, yeah, well, we had Atiba. There are more guys similar to Atiba. Obviously, no one's as good as him or has had a career like he has. But the belief and what Canada showed yesterday and what everyone is talking about is something that is tangible, something that we need to grab. Kids playing the game nowadays, aspiring to be playing in a World Cup, it is not a dream anymore. So yesterday was so significant in many ways, and that's just what I take from it. I don't think the Canadian players are looking at anything else other than their mission and their belief, and it's just permeating. It's contagious. Everyone's catching on. If they weren't a fan before, they're becoming a fan now.
KJ, I want to jump in quick, okay? And then because I want to see if you agree with my take. It's funny because in the football world, you don't hear this very often from a manager, let alone the manager of Canada, one of the biggest outsiders, long shots to go on and win the World Cup. Like, this isn't NBA or NFL, but if I was John Herdman today, I would have leaned into it actually a little bit more, because I think that everything that he says has a purpose. And I would have been like, look, I expect our team to be combative. We need to go into this game and be in a fight. And that's the way that we're going to achieve success here at Qatar. Croatia, why would you even care what we have to say? You were the World Cup finalists in 2018. You're a side with more technical ability, more history, more resources, greater depth of players. You have it all. Why would you care what we say? And if you can't acknowledge that we're the ones that need to come in and try to F you up, then you're kidding yourself. That is our demeanor. That is our mantra. We are fearless. That is what we're all about. This isn't a sign of disrespect. That is the Canadian way. That is a Canadian attitude. And the only way for us to move forward is to be united in this cause.
I'm in the minority. I disagree with everybody. I don't think it was unnecessary.
No! KJ!
You're off the show.
It's fine. I'm done. I don't care.
Erroneous! KJ!
Jordan, everything that you said was true based on how they played. Everything that you said was that they inspired everything based on how they played. Everybody can say that they're going to go and play the way they're going to play against Croatia. It did not need to be said. It did not need to be talked about. World Cups are talked about. We talk about players. We don't talk about managers. It didn't need to be talked about. So I'm with Ollie. I think it was calculated, and I just thought it was unnecessary. What's the point? Ultimately, the way Canada played delivers the message. Carry on and doing it. What are we dropping? What are we swearing for? For me, I just thought it was unnecessary.
Well, he just said the letter.
Yeah, but
technically, he just said the letter.
You know what it means, and it was multiple times.
He alluded to a swear word.
Look, I don't disagree with the way that what he's saying. The players will go out there and deliver, and they could deliver. They could do it. But just let the players do the talking.
It's one thing. Look, it's about galvanizing a country. It's about maintaining that belief
already.
No, KJ, it's a message to the players, but I think it's a message to the country as well. You said it. There's millions of people that are probably watching this team for the first time. They dropped their head, we lost the game. It's about galvanizing, rallying everyone together.
They watched that game and they were full on entertained from start to finish. Canada were absolutely marvelous. The talk of the international football world based on the way that they played. We do not need another explanation mark on a story by somebody who didn't play in the match. It was unnecessary. For me.
Are other people talking about that? Sorry, because we got to let you go here, KJ. Are other people talking? And what are they saying? Out of curiosity,
they're very much in the side of the camp that I'm in. They're very unsure about why it was said.
It's one thing to say it in a huddle and another thing to say it publicly, right? As well. Right? If that's the message you wanted to
say to players, no problem. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what? It's the
Don't
fact
mind
that
it
we're talking
at all.
about
I
it.
think you got to lean into it. Lean into
Yeah,
it
and
more. It's a message to his players.
Of course it is.
Why could
We'll see.
Croatia? Why would Croatia or any other country in this tournament care what the Canadian coach has to say? We're outsiders. We're not expected to do anything. I understand that's the
I
way
don't
they
think
play
they can.
and they
I don't think
reflect
they
it.
can.
But if you're
They
going to
might
use
not.
this as bulletin board material,
the
then
World
Croatia
Cup.
has more problems than we think.
I don't think it's bulletin board material, but it's the World Cup. Headlines get created by everything. Storylines get created by everything. There's a lot of time to talk about a lot of things. I'm not saying Luka Modric ain't going to sleep tonight thinking about Canada. I'll just tell you that.
I love it. But see, I love that we're even talking about this because he clearly said something that some people agree with. Other chains were rattled. The Canadian players, though, if there's one thing we do know, they're all on the same page. They definitely are on the same page. So, that's what they're feeling right now.